Welcome to Politics Done Right. As you guys know, I'm in Washington, D.C., but we're still keeping Houston, Texas, and the South covered. So today we are honored to have Neil Aquino here with us. Neil, I understand that you are in a project with one of our other Houston activists, Daniel. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing? It's important.
Great. Thank you for having me. So thank you for having me on. On Monday, the 25th at 9 a.m. Central, 10 Eastern, for our global viewers, we're going to have a number of progressive champions in Houston and Harris County discuss the Build Back Better program and the need for a comprehensive physical and human infrastructure bill. And on this news conference are going to be HISD trustee Sung, teacher and education advocate Michelle Palmer, who ran such a great race for this Texas Board of Education, Houston Councilwoman Letitia Plummer, who's been the chief progressive champion on Houston Council, Justice of the Peace Israel Garcia, who's been leading the way in opposing some evictions, SEIU Texas President Elsa Caballero, Houston community advocate Sandra Rodriguez, who ran a great city council campaign a couple of years ago, and state representatives Ann Johnson and John Rosenthal. So we want to have the backs of people who've had our backs and build our own networks of action and support. And we want to attack the inequalities exacerbated by the pandemic and that have been around for years before the pandemic.
So Neil, is this a Zoom panel that you're having open to the public?
It's going to be open to the public, and the event's going to be able to be watched on the Facebook Precinct 272 page in Houston. And these things are always a little, sometimes they're a little tough to get around your head, at least if you're me, at least. But it's going to be on the Precinct 272 page in Houston. Many of your Houston viewers, among your global viewers, will have friends who have that. And then, thanks to your kindness, it's going to be posted on your page when done.
Absolutely. So anyhow, it's important that in all venues we cover what this Build Back Better the Build Back Better bills, the Build Back Better issues that we're talking about, because I think one of the major problems that we have right now is most people they hear Build Back Better, they hear reconciliation, they hear all these things. The one thing they don't hear enough of is why we need these bills and what these bills are actually going to do for the individual, correct?
Correct. There are so many, it's hard to imagine that on top of the long-standing challenges, the bridges we haven't built, the child care we haven't provided, the eye care and dental care that for our seniors and people that hasn't been provided. And now we've heard these stories about the wealth that was transferred to the richest during the pandemic. And so on top of years since the Great Society, or whenever we did the least recent substantial infrastructure building, and now exacerbated by the last 20 months and ongoing. And so these bills are really important. And, we want to encourage our great local congressional delegations in Houston and elsewhere to support these important initiatives.
Ironically, Neil, you just kind of called Great Society, etc. What is very interesting is when we talk about real physical infrastructure, I don't think there has been anything comprehensive since the interstate system. I don't think there has been anything comprehensive since Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security expansion. We can talk about the Affordable Care Act, but the scope of the scope of doing something from a truly social governmental input into our lives hadn't been since the late 60s at all, because again, even the Affordable Care Act is a private sector kind of a thing. So it is interesting that finally Joe Biden, with this Build Back Better set of programs, I should say, will mitigate much of what's happening.
And not only that, because there's been such a concern, a new concerned about racial and financial equity. And so, right, the freeways, the interstates, but hopefully this isn't going to displace the neighborhood. So these are, they're still building freeways. They want to build additional freeways in Houston and Austin, and I'm sure where your viewers are across the nation. And so the great thing about this is that it's progressive, and it seems to be geared towards the entire demographic of the nation, across all 50 states and every demographic, and not meant to push out some folks as well.
Interesting. Again, that what is important about what you're saying as well, Neil, is these bills are written in an intentional manner to ensure that it's broad-based, and covers actually everybody, and that there aren't that somehow some won't fall through the cracks.
Right. That's exactly right. These are uniquely broad-based, and one of the great things here living in Houston, and you referenced the South, is that we have a number, and these folks weren't here 3, 4, 5 years ago. Well, they were here, but they weren't in positions of office holding. We have a number of progressive champions. Number of the people I've mentioned were not in office 2, 3, 4 years ago. And I've mentioned people whom are office holders, whom are activists, a union president. And so it's great because there's such a wide range of things happening positive in the South rather than the caricatures.
You know what's interesting, Neil, though, and I think it's important to point something else out. We put them there. You, with your activism, put them there. I saw several people that you are going to be talking to tomorrow, and it put a smile on my face, because it was flesh and blood that we can touch, that we know we actively participated in ensuring they got into the positions that they have today.
It really is. This is the reflection of a lot of work, a lot of work, a lot of unpaid work, a lot of volunteer work, and I encourage everyone to support your local activist and rank and file volunteer. And I respect the word activist, but often I use the word just rank and file volunteer. That person just buying their own stamp or block walking, buying their own sunscreen, using their own mileage to get to the turf, and the whole rigmarole. And these names that I've mentioned for our Monday press conference are manifestations of our own work.
Well, look, let me tell you, in closing, Neil, I want to thank you for what you're doing. I think it is important for what you and Daniel Cohen have put together to ensure that people get a better understanding of Build Back Better and other policies. And I hope that you are a catalyst to people all over the country, from a precinct by precinct, district by district, city by city, state by state. Do what's necessary to inform their constituents, inform your brothers and sisters, your neighbors, your friends, all that is happening, and not allow the mainstream media, the right-wingers, the neoliberals to try to change the reality of what we're trying to build here, and have people continue to support things that are not necessarily in their interest. Give me a closer, my friend.
Great. Well, it's very, very kind, and we'll all do this together. We'll all do this together, and your support at the local and national level. And so it's a Build Back Better. We'll be on at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern on the 25th, Monday, on the Precinct 272 homepage, and on Facebook if you're in the Houston area. And then you're kind enough to post it. And I think even if you're in a different neck of the woods, different part of town, the progress we're seeing here, even as we have these perils of going on and these challenges to democracy, it's important to take heart from what we've accomplished and to stay the course.
Thank you so kindly. Neil Aquino, Ultra Houston activist. the one that makes sure that Senator Cornyn is bird-dogged everywhere, that Senator Cornyn is struck everywhere. This is a man keeping.
You see him behind me.
in track.
You see him behind me right there with Senator Cruz.
There it is.
There they are.
Kindly, Neil.
Okay, thank you so much, Egberto.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.